Hi, and welcome to the Training Hall. I'm Primarchus, and today we're going to go through some foundational tactics for our favorite game, Tacticus. First off, I'll give you a quick little video itinerary and what we're going to be covering today. First off, I'll do a little bit of a foundation series overview, what we're going to cover, and what direction we'll be taking this series. Following that, I'll do a quick intro, a little info about myself, but of course I will make it as short as possible because seriously, who cares? Following that, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this video, why we're actually here to begin with. Okay, the foundation series. I kind of boiled these down into 10 distinct topics that I think if players can really get their head around will have a huge influence on how they play. And hopefully it should lead to a lot more wins than losses. So number one, and our topic for today, is movement discipline. Simply put, it's how to use your units as a cohesive team instead of a bunch of isolated individual units. Number two, I probably should have put first, but honestly, it's kind of boring, so I wanted to start off with something a little bit more engaging. Simply put, it's just making sure that all of your units, their gear, and their abilities are at the appropriate level for the rarity you are playing at. Following that is how reach works. This is a really important topic to understand in game because spacing is such a huge part. Understanding how melee range works as well as ranged attack works is huge, so you need to know that stuff inside and out. Number four, definitely a very important topic, is all things movement. I've broken this down into 3 sections. First one is just basic movement. Number 2 is modified movement, typically involving some form of ability. And the last one is just something I call sliding doors movement. Things may change during the course of someone's turn. What might have been safe to begin with might not end in the same way. So you have to account for the things that could potentially happen during your opponent's turn. And in turn, you must set up your units accordingly. Number 5, this is a good one, I think. I think this will really help people. What I did for this one is I took the 5 most common occurrences that happen in game and try to go into them with a bit more detail. Essentially, it's a continuum. Number 1 is, what do you do when your opponent has all the advantages, they're about to rush you, you're definitely going to lose some units, you're going to take some damage, but how do you weather that storm best? And how do you set up a successful counter-strike when it comes to your turn? There are some levels in between, but the number 5 is the opposite. What do you do when it's your turn to strike? How do we go all in? So this system just takes some of the guesswork out of the creation for you, and it can really help streamline some of your thinking. Number 6 is safety versus survival. If you move a unit in range to attack someone the following turn, you are now in range for them to attack you. So we're not just donating our units to their cause, but if you stay back, you can't hit your opponent. So how do we close the gap and keep our units alive? That's something we'll cover in video 6. Number 7 is playing the player, not the map. Not all good opportunities in game are good moves. So it's all about learning which information you should be prioritizing in game. Number 8. Number 8 is one we all experience. I guarantee you even the top players feel nerves. They're not going away. So it's just about learning how to work with them. And number 9. Number 9 is about building your confidence so you can go into a games in a more buoyant mental space, so you're not working against yourself even more than your opponent is. Definitely an important one. And number 10, what do you do when the shit hits the fan and everything's going against you? Well, hint, you stop digging the hole even bigger. But we'll cover that in time. So that's the overview for the series. I hope some of that stuff has piqued your interest, because I think it's really going to help bring the average player up to a level where they can enjoy the game a lot more. Okay, I'll make this as quick as possible. Luckily, there's not much to share here anyway. But keeping this brief, I'm no one special really. I'm just someone who really loves Tacticus, but most importantly, I really love Tournament Arena. It's my favorite game mode by far. I'm really not that fussed on raids, and my roster reflects that. I just love TA. I love to scrap, I love the pressure, and I think that game mode can be so much fun once you get over that initial learning curve and find your own way. And that's what I'm here to do with this video and this channel. You most often can find me in the Tacticus Discord Tournament Arena channel. I'm always there, yapping away. Either that or I'm riling up the Judd users and the Forgefin users on a daily basis. It's just what I do. It's a bit of fun. Also, if you have watched any of Nandy's summary videos this year, you may have seen my name pop up when we cover the top 25 faction scores each TA season. I started to do that because I thought it was interesting, and then he also started to help me do it as well. It's cool info, cool data. But really, I'm no one special. I'm a decent player. I just started to break into the legendary cap just recently. Still got a bit to go. Above average, but not quite at the top yet. But we'll see where this journey takes us. But one thing I can borrow from my main work is breaking down advanced things into simple, more applicable concepts and steps. So that's what I'm going to try to do with these videos. And the goal for the channel is kind of funny. I say it half jokingly, and I'm quite naive, but I'm also not completely stupid. Ideally, what I'd love to do is just build the engagements within Tournament Arena. I'd love for more people to be happy playing, user count to go up. So ideally, the developers can start to pay a bit more attention to the game mode, and hopefully balance it out and give everyone the best possible chance to have a fair shot. Have some fun with their favorite factions, because I believe that's definitely the best part of the game. Alright, what are we actually here for? Movement discipline. So, simply put, movement discipline is all about learning how to use your team as an actual team and not just a bunch of individual units. Why? Well, it's so you can maximally beat your enemies up. Hit them as hard as possible. Leave no damage, no effect on the table. Throw the table at them as well as a kitchen sink. How do we do it? We organize our turns into phases. So what are the phases? Phase 1, plan your turn. Phase 2, we move our units into place and only move. Phase 3, then we attack. Okay, let's get into some more detailed theory. Okay, the planning phase. Typically in most games, it's around turn 2 to 3, where contact with your opponent typically occurs. This is a really important part of the game, because once you make a move, you can't unmake it. What you do in the early game will flow into the mid game, and then also into the end game. So if you want to end up on top, you have to make sure you always stay ahead. How you start the game has a huge influence. So take that extra time to make sure you make those key moves at the key time and set yourself up for a good game. You do get that bonus bank of time. Use it if you need to. So what's the first thing we do? Firstly, just take a breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let your brain take in all of the information in front of you. It's so easy to react instead of just respond. Often we'll get an idea halfway through our opponent's turn, and it sounds like such a good idea. Then we do it, and we realize we've left the rest of our team hanging to dry. It was fun in isolation, and you may have won a little battle, but you have lost the war. So take a breath, take all of the information in, let your brain think. Following that, we want to start to create a rough mental image of what we want to do with this turn. Who do we want to attack? Who do we want to attack them with? Where do you want to attack them from? And who's going to be supporting who? On top of that, we also want to start to consider what environmental modifiers we can take advantage of. Is there high ground? Is there enemies on barbed wire? Are there some narrow pathways we can use abilities or different types of attacks to block? Also, it can be wise to check all of the necessary movements we want to do are actually possible. Sometimes you get these grand ideas and we miss a movement range or two. We move half our team in, then we realize it's not possible, and you just created bait for your opposition. Very easily digestible bait. Sometimes it really pays to check your movements. Another good thing to do is make sure you just give yourself a check-in. Sorry, Freudian slip. Give yourself a second, not a chicken, to take into account what your enemy abilities can do, as well as their traits. Do they have Terminator armor? Do they have Overwatch? Do they have Final Vengeance? These things are important to know. Once you're on top of that, the last thing you can do is work out in which order do you need to attack to maximize your team synergy. Once you're on top of that, it's time to move to the next phase. Apologies, 1 second. Okay, movement phase. Move and only move your key hitters into their spots. Notice I said move only, do not attack yet. If you attack now, you leave us no choice but to lobotomize you. It's going to be the servitor life for you. I'm sorry, mate. You did this to yourself. Once we moved all of our hitters in place, we're going to start to move our secondary supporting units into their best spots as well. Buffers, healers, ranged attackers. Time to fill the gaps. Now, if you keep messing this up, and look, I get it, sometimes the nails be biting, sometimes your enemies look very, very Horus-like, and you just gotta act. I get it. But if you do keep stuffing up, one thing you can do is actually move your buffers in place first, before your attackers. The reason why I don't recommend just doing this first is it is a little bit easy to mess up movements and spacing. So if you at least get your key hitters in place first, you know they can at least attack well. So it just minimizes the potential for poor turns a little bit more. But if it's not working and you really need to emphasize moving your support units in first, then try it in reverse. And as this holy ordained document says, you can also start to call your enemies names, and if they start to chat shit back, simply rev your chain swords. Block them out. It's a good strat. Once we've done this, let's get ready for the next part. The attacking phase. Only once everyone is in place do we attack. We want to make sure all of our key components are in place and everything is set up. Once we've done this, then we will finally attack in the order that makes the most sense for us to get the most out of our team. Bring the heat, make them hurt. Very well put, Commissar Homelander. You certainly have a way with words, my friend. Okay, let's get into a bit of practical. I'm going to do 2 videos. The first one I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the Ultramarines because most people have them. They're simple, but they're also a good team to explain these principles well. The first one I'm going to do is I'm just going to use them like an orc would. Individual, in isolation, by themselves, ignoring the rest of the team. Video 2, I'm going to apply these principles and I'm going to show the contrast. So stay tuned and we'll get into the fun stuff in just a second. Okay, example number 1. This one, I'm just going to orc it. Not think too much, just react. I'm not going to alter the start positions too much because in Arena you can't really do that anyway. This is a bit of a funny map as it does have some choke points and that's kind of annoying. I did try to pick a lineup where the units are somewhat equally leveled. I think my Bellator is legendary, as well as Calgar obviously by default, so there might be a little bit of a mismatch, but hey, it's fine. So I'm just going to start the match. I'm not just going to charge him because normally you would not start this close together, so I'm just going to pull back a little bit and then I'm going to go from there. I'm just going to try to simulate a normal match the best I can. Okay. So, some units are in place. I'm going to throw these little blueberries at these wall of clankers and see what we can do. Okay. Didn't do a lot of damage. That's ugly. Titus, not bad. Okay. Now, let's see this. Okay, yeah, didn't die. Also, I hope I survived this fight, I should say too. So, I'm just gonna charge in, whatever. You're close, I'll hit ya. Okay, I'm down to 3. Not so good. Sorry, excuse me. So now I'm just going to use an ability. Hey, just because. I probably should have pulled that a bit earlier. I feel like that's what an orc would do. Okay, go die. Eat that clanker. Okay, so then we'll just finish this fight off. It's pretty much done. So there we go. So that's example number 1. As you can see, I just pushed everyone forward. Didn't really take into account the different components of my team. What I can capitalize on. I see, I react, I moved, I attack. Nothing special. So now we're going to do this again. But this time, we're going to try to move as a team and attack as a team. So, same thing, I'm just going to pull everyone back. Hopefully it's in a pretty similar spot to last time, but yeah, okay. So they push forward. Now let's make a bit of a plan. So first step, take a breath. Give yourself a chance to take in all of the information. Now let's start to make a bit of a plan, okay? So, I know these abilities pretty well, but I'll go over them just for the sake of the video. So Bellator is active, can be pretty handy, really, to draw other enemy summons away from your targets as well. Sorry, your units, I should say. The longer this game goes on, the more he'll get until he reaches his cap. So it makes sense to pull this later, as it's way more effective. And passive, it just makes his friendly units also attack if they're adjacent to him, I believe. Okay, Warden of Ultramar, Mr. Titus himself. This is a really low level, so I'm not going to use it. Apologies, gang, but actually a pretty good ability. Yeah, rip and tear, burst damage, you know the drill. And gotta love that passive. If he dies and he kills his opponent in Final Vengeance, he gets res the first time. Very, very good ability. Mr. Calgar himself, AoE active, very nice. Passive is also a buff for adjacent units, also handy too. I think this is like a level, I'm gonna say 35 or 36, I could be wrong. Poor Mr. Tigurius, he desperately needs some buffing, but AoE active, that chain links as well. Passive, a bit of defense, extra block, definitely useful, but yeah, this really needs to be buffed more in game because it's not up to par with where damage profiles are. Mr. Certus is active, heavy round, pushes the unit back. It's pretty good. Passive is, yeah, not very useful very often, but it is what it is. So first off, you can see there is a right flank and a left flank that's separated by this ward in the middle. So I'm going to try to isolate these targets on the left and try to keep some of those enemies on the right, especially the flayed ones, away from my guys. So let's make a plan. Let's move up and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna move a buffer first. Gonna check my movements, and then we're gonna attack. So I didn't have the best positioning with Mr. Certus here, so he will be getting an attack that's unbuffed, unfortunately, but Titus and Bellator will be getting buffs on their attacks. And if you remember from the previous video, Bellator did next to nothing when he attacked this one. So it'll be a really good opportunity to see the difference that being buffed makes. Okay, so as you can see, this should kill this flayed one. And there we go, not bad. Last time Titus killed this one on his own anyway. Now if I was smart and if I wasn't doing this close to midnight, I probably would have used Tigurius's active first, just so I can link and smash little thuddy boy over here. I'm going to save my head around till it's a bit more buff, and right now I'm just going to give him a hit, soften him up a little bit. So, he went down, not to matter. Like again, this is not the team I use every day, I'm just trying to do a really simple example of how these guys work. If I do some dumb stuff, whatever, it's okay. So, first step, take a breath. Form an idea, check it's possible, move some units, then pull the trigger. So Certus is definitely hurting a little bit, and I really need to take Thutmose down because he's pretty spicy and he hasn't used his active yet either, and that can really soften up this team. So I think what I'm going to do is do this, and do this. Now all units are buffed. When it comes to sequencing my attacks, doesn't really matter too much. But one thing to mention is the Titus positioning. If those units from the north do engage, he's the one most likely to absorb that damage. So, should I kill Thutmose? Because if he goes down, he needs to leave someone to get back up. But I think he should be okay. He should be fat enough to survive this fight if I can at least bring Thud down. So, he's getting a lot more damage than before, which is nice. So, hopefully this should take him down, but if not, I've got some options to finish him if required. Yeah, there we go. Easy as that. Okay, so let's start to work our way through the rest of these guys. So again, let's take a breath, form a plan, make some moves. Not much is really doing here. I've just got to start to work my way through these goons. So I might actually try to start to use that AoE. So I'm going to clear some space first by taking out this Necron warrior here. And then I'm just going to hope that this kills some guys. Hope that I can make up some space. I can use Bellator's active on either this guy here. Almost click to attack. Whoopsie. Or I can just pull it here just to get him in the fight. I probably won't just do that, but I'll just pull this anyway just because. Getting bored. Yeah, there we go. Not bad. Can I reach that one? Okay, I can finish this fight here. So I'm going to move this guy in range of Calgar, so his attack will be buffed, but he probably would have killed him anyway. But should always do the basics. So I'm going to put him here, pull that active, boom, and boom. So before I do this, you'll notice that the previous fight I think I lost 2 units. This time I only lost the 1. And it was a bit more pleasant fight too. I had more control. I wasn't quite chasing my tail as much, and my attacks were doing a lot more damage, most importantly. Is the contrast dramatic? In this case, no. This is not a balanced match. It's a weird setup. There's a choke point. Arena is not normally like this, but again, it was just something simple that I could do to show the difference between these two approaches, and also how much more we can get out of our team if we use them as a team. So I'm going to finish this here, and then I'm going to end this practical now. To splice those different videos together. This is my first time making a proper video for YouTube. I'm still ironing out the kinks, so if I make some mistakes, I apologize. Please bear with me. But yeah, just a quick recap. Movement discipline. Plan your turn. Move your units into place. Then, and only then, do we attack. Just some general notes to help round out the complete picture as well. So obviously these are all just general principles. They don't always apply in all scenarios. Some factions and teams will do much better with different approaches. Bit of this, bit of that, mixing and matching. It's just how it goes. So always play what's in front of you. Don't be dogmatic. Respond to what you're seeing on the map. Another good thing to remember is keep in mind that summons can steal your key spots. So always move your essential units into place first. But again, if you nail your attack order, you should minimize this anyway. Speaking of AI, some units will have AI auto moves, and setting out your team's positions can really be thrown out if you miscalculate where they land. So it's a really good idea to learn some of the mechanics of how these guys function. This is also a really good bit of general advice as well. But whichever teams and faction you play, work out their best shapes. There's always an optimal way to approach contact. So work out what that is. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, work out what that is. And then memorize it. Nail it. One thing that's also very helpful too is create a compressed version of that shape and also an expanded version of that shape as well. Some teams you can afford to bunch up, other teams you cannot. So, figure them out. And then whatever you come across, adjust your units from that general shape and play what's in front of you. One thing that helps, especially over time, this one does take a bit of time to build up, is your general game knowledge and learning your matchups. Sometimes you'll have units that specialize against your opponent units, i.e. Rosie versus Ica. Once you know this and can recognize it in game, it can help make some of your decisions for you, and that'll really reduce your mental load. One less thing to worry about, it gives you some clarity, and it gives you a bit of an anchor point to design what you're going to do with the rest of your team. It can be very helpful. And also, one other Captain Obvious thing to finish off with is just be mindful that your opponent will most likely be getting a turn as well. Once you've attacked, if you don't win the game, they're going to attack you back. So, set up your structure and your shapes with a hit back in mind, and sometimes you can really minimize the damage that will do to you. So, just another recap. Reps help us learn. Movement discipline. Split your turn up into phases. Planning, movement, attack. Take a breath. Read what's in front of you. Make a plan of attack. Make sure it's viable. Move everyone in your team into their spots first. Set up whatever you need to set up, if applicable, and then attack in order. I'll just finish off with this quote that should really help hammer everything we covered home today. If your buffers aren't in place, when your attackers attack, their attacks will not be buffed. Remember that. Apply these principles. Win more games. Enjoy the game mode more.